everyone. So, I have been doing a lot of thinking, and because Venus transit into Libra, uh, and that's the first time Venus has done a transit in 250 years, and Venus being the planet of love. And so I got thinking, I'm like, what does love mean? Like, when you say, oh, let's get into the love space, the heart center, a lot of times, people are like, I literally don't even understand what that means. And I feel like because so many of us have never really experienced love, so we don't really even understand what that means, right? And I feel like I wanted to get into talking a little bit more of how to achieve that from a practical standpoint, it's not all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, right? It's like, how do we get to that place where we can actually feel love in our hearts? Like true love, unconditional love. How do you even get there, right? Okay, so I've learned everything the hard way. So, and I have learned so much from my children. I feel having children and now being a grandmother, I have the wisdom now of, a lot of what not to do and also what to do as a mother. And I know as a mother, as a parent, could be a father as well, that your love for your children transcends all love, I feel personally. And I have learned so much from my children, and they've been my greatest teachers in every area of my life. So, and I got thinking about love, and I got thinking about, okay, all the different types of love. We love our children. We may love nature. We may have hobbies that we love. We love our partners. We love our friends, etc. There's many different layers to love, right? Yes, it is transcending, but there's many facets to love. So each expression of love has a different vibrational frequency to it. Okay? So I was thinking about this. All right, so each one, it all comes from the heart center. It's all love. It all comes from a much higher vibration. And what does each of them mean? And what would be the highest form of love? So I'm going to reword that. Maybe what would be the highest vibrational frequency of the love note? If we were to take love and make it in, musical notes of love, what would be the highest frequency of it? And it kind of hit me the more I thought about it. It's self-love. If you think about it, self-love. And interesting enough, living in this world and in this society where everything's been inverted, twisted, distorted. Even love has been twisted and inverted and distorted in so many ways, because there are healthy forms of love, and then there's actually the inversion of love. There's an unhealthy form of love as well. And that unhealthy form of love comes in the form of control. And this is how we achieve unconditional love, is when we understand how to relinquish the control over what we might expect over somebody, over ourselves, over a situation, right? So thinking back, being a mom, being a parent, you want the best for your kids, you want the best for your friends, you're trying to come from a pure place of pure love. But the biggest lesson my children have taught me is actually how to step back from that mothering, I know what's best for you, kind of natural instincts that kick in, because, a parental love is so powerful, and sometimes it's a little even overwhelming that you just want the best, you want the best for everybody. So it can actually become inverted in a form of control. And then that actually distorts your ability to truly love, unconditionally love, to love without expectations, without boundaries, right? And so how do we love ourselves? How do we truly love ourselves? How do we truly love others around us? The first step that I have learned along the way is about having healthy boundaries. That is the key, paramount step in learning how to actually love. Because love, it's not always sparkle diamond dust, right? It's actually, love can be probably one of the hardest, most intense, humbling, and brutal teachers, ironically enough. So, by having healthy boundaries with yourself, with others, that is the first step. And what does that look like? Well, that would look like by saying no, learning how to say no to anything or anybody that may be pulling on your energies, draining you, taking away from what you need. First, you needed to figure out what your needs are and what your energy levels are and what you're capable of doing. So that's sort of the inner introspection and self-reflection on what your needs are. So maybe take a moment, sit down, have some quiet time, and write down, journal. What do I need? Mind, body, and spirit. Always those three. What are my needs, my basic needs? So take a moment, reflect on that, figure out what your needs are. What can you give? What are you capable of giving? And don't give beyond that. If you're not capable of doing it, that is the highest form of self-love. And that has been one of my biggest lessons that I've had to learn throughout this particular lifetime experience, was how to love myself. I feel like so many of us have grown up without the understanding of unconditional love, without maybe proper love and care and attention, that we don't even know what that means. What does that even look like? And everything is designed in our world to pull us off track, to distract us, to keep us from looking deep inside of ourselves, to keep us from actually self-actualizing and truly caring about ourselves. And there's actually this weird sense of, there's actually this weird shame and guilt that society has placed upon us when we do decide to take a step back and take care of ourselves. It may be even inverted and being called a narcissist. Like that word gets thrown around a lot. There's true narcissistic behavior, and then there's self-love behavior. And self-love behavior is on a completely different scale from narcissistic. This is like completely different scales. So, and if anybody's calling you a narcissist because you are taking the time out that you need, then maybe, you need to reevaluate who's saying that and if they're even allowed into your life. Because the one thing that I have discovered on my path, my journey of learning how to love myself again, was to say no, have healthy boundaries, and anybody who may be gaslighting me or making me feel bad about the fact that I need my personal space and I need my personal time, that in alone is a toxic behavior, and those people are not allowed. They're not welcome. The doors get shut immediately. We have to learn to have healthy boundaries, mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so I have healthy boundaries within our spiritual self, our spiritual practices. So we have a balanced approach. We can't be 110% always in our spiritual practices or be completely devoid. You have to find out what feels right for you, what we put into our body, right? That comes in the form of foods, chemicals, medicine, etc. That's all self-love, taking care of your body, finding a healthy regimen, something that it's conducive to you. Everybody is different, and everybody has different approaches, and everybody has different needs. So first you establish what your needs are, then you work off of that list from there. My needs are going to be maybe very different from your needs. Some people need to have more physical activity. Some people need to have more mental activity. Some people need more emotional nurturing. Some people need more spiritual nurturing for their soul beingness. That's how you nourish your soul. So each of us is going to be different. The other thing is listening to your internal compass. That's a really important thing. How you navigate through this and how you navigate the path of self love is to understand your internal compass. Your internal compass may also be known as your moral compass. Now, this is something else that has been inverted in this world. I keep calling it the upside down world because to me it feels like what we understand and what we know is literally, as a society, as culture, as humans, it's sort of like it's all been distorted and inverted and upside down from what the reality is, from what the real spiritual truth is. So your internal compass is based on your own moral needs as a spiritual being having a human existence. Mine is going to be different from yours. So I have to listen to my internal moral compass and you have to listen to yours. It's just all based on who you are, what you are, where you're at as a spiritual being. There's no judgment on it. It just is. It is what it is, right? So how do you listen to that moral compass? What does that even mean, right? And that's another one. The word moral compass is like morality and moral high horse are two very different things. If you're imposing your morality, you're sitting on your moral high horse and need to get off, right? So, because that is an individual path. You know, the moral high horse to me, here's an example. I've seen certain elites, over this last there was a planetary period a few months ago where we were in a karmic sort of um, karmic bonus round, let's put it like that. And I started seeing certain people that were giving away their wealth and donating to charities. And it's like, it's their own charity. So they're like giving back to themselves in a charitable manner. I'm sorry, karma doesn't work that way, and the universe doesn't work that way, and energy doesn't work that way. So nice try, though. It's ridiculous. So, it's not about like going out and who's going to out volunteer who and to do things that are coming from the ego, right? For the need for personal accolades. That's just an ego boost. That's not you actually living authentically and according to your heart and your own internal moral compass. I really liked that last video Braca put out, the one with the Venus. I forget what it was called. The link will be in there. She talks about, doing little things. It's sort of the little pay it forwards, what little contributions can we add on a daily basis to society, to the world around us? What are the little bits of glitter and sunshine, that we can throw out there? Not one of us alone can change the world, but together we all shine brightly. All of our lights matter. Every little action matters. It's the ripple effect. You put one drop of water in a bucket, it might not seem like anything, but if another drop, and another drop, and eventually that bucket of water becomes overflowing. And if you visualize each one of those drops as a drop of light in that dark well, eventually each one of us adding and contributing our little piece of light, our little piece of sparkle into the collective bucket, eventually that bucket overflows with light. That is how we change the world. That is how we change ourselves, and that is how we heal and uplift each other, and that is how we ascend together. And it's also the path of love as well, because it feels good to help others. It feels good. It feels great when you put a smile on someone's face. But here's where the caveat is. This is where the catch can be with the service to others path. Okay? For those of us that are light workers, that comes very naturally. We want to give, we want to help, we want to, we want to make people smile, we want to make people happy, we want to heal as many people as we can. But our first mission is to heal thyself. We have to heal ourselves. We have to be in a place where we are feeling strong and healthy, mind, body, spirit, so that we are even capable of helping others. even. So self love is very, very important as a light worker and as a healer. We don't need to sacrifice our time, our energy, our beliefs. We don't need to sacrifice ourselves in order to be on the path, the light path, the service to others path, because that isn't balanced on its own. Right? I see a lot of people who are healers and intuitives and readers and, you know, naturopaths, doctors, anybody that's in the healing and or service, customer service industries. I know for myself, I've been in that my entire life, you know, and I burnt out. I burnt out like there's nobody's business because I realized I was so busy trying to help others, my family, this, I was constantly giving. My well ran dry. And that is, I accept that. I own that, and I'm owning that. So we have to set up realistic expectations for ourselves, and that comes back to understanding yourself, what your needs are. Needs and wants are two different things as well. Needs fit the mind, body, spirit. So I'm just going to rewind here. I'm going to go back to the moral compass and explain that just a little bit more. Okay, so what does that feel like? How do we operate our moral compass? We're like, well, what is it? And I don't even want to call it a moral compass because that sort of stigmatizes that's putting it in a box. I want to remove the labels off that and just, this is your internal compass that guides your ship. Okay, as my friend had said to me one day, she looked at me and she's like, "You're the captain of your own canoe." And I was like, damn straight, I'm the captain of my own canoe. Everyone has their own ship that they need to navigate. Your body, your vessel, your life is your ship that you need to navigate, or your canoe or your kayak or whatever, right? I got thinking about that because that actually kind of made my brain go, yeah, I am the captain of my own canoe. I am the one that's in control of my own life, my own destiny, my own fate. You are the one that is the captain of your own canoe. You are in control of your life, your destiny, your fate. That's free will. And that's an amazing thing. So our compass is what navigates us through this journey. Okay. How does it feel? Okay, so we have the center. This is sort of a yin yang thing, but I'm just going to come at it from a little different angle. So the center is where we are feeling completely and totally balanced within our centered beingness, right? Now we can't be there all the time, and that would actually be probably rather boring anyways, right? That gives no space to life. So we have our centered beingness, and on each side, we're going to pretend this is like, this might be dipping into the light side of ourselves. This is dipping into the dark side of ourselves, much like the yin and the yang, where we have the duality of the light and the dark within all of us. So I kind of look at it like I have it's like an electric fence on either side. So I have my centered beingness. This is where I feel totally balanced and totally centered. And this is the part where I start to go a little bit, this is too light, too dark. Right? So you whenever you find yourself, you might be floating away and you might be coming just a little bit too much love, too much light, and you're not, maybe there are times where you do need to have some firm boundaries, and there are times where people do need to have a sit in the corner, and we do need to assert ourselves, because if we don't assert ourselves on the other side of that, we become a doormat, and then we become a victim mentality. That's where the martyrdom comes in. If we go too far past that little electric fence on the other side of it. So whenever we start to deviate, we will feel inside of us. If we listen to our intuition and we listen to our body, it'll just be like, it's almost like a little zap, like, oh, that didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. And then you kind of have to stop, recompass, and recalibrate. Why didn't that feel right? What do I need to recompass, come back to the center again? The same thing goes for the dark side. It's fun to dip into the dark side a little bit, and sometimes we do need to dip into the dark side. That dipping into the dark side would be considered us maybe maybe you are karma. Maybe, there are times where maybe we do need to channel a little bit of our darkness inside of us, like that dark humor, where you kind of get a kick out of things that are super morbid and twisted, but then there's a fine line between that, right? You go too far, and now all of a sudden, now you're dipping too far into the dark. And then at that point, if you are honest with yourself and you're paying attention to yourself, mind, body, spirit, and you ask yourself, how does this feel? I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. This is not feeling good inside me. I'm starting to feel off. That's when you go, okay, recalibrate. So Creator has gifted us this abilities to be able to dance between the light and the dark in this dimensional reality. It's actually quite a gift. Once you understand how to dance between the light and the dark without getting caught away and consumed or sucked into one or the other, and that once you know where your center space is, your center, then you will know where your electric fence perimeters are. And that brings you back on track, back onto the course, and gives you a chance to recalibrate. So there is also this feeling thing in spirituality where people are like, they're afraid of their dark side. They're afraid to experience that. So everything's love and light, everything's love and light, everything's love and light. And it's like, wow. Okay, that number one is coming from a low vibrational consciousness. That's coming from a place of fear, because now you're fearful that if you slip into the dark, holy shit, what's going to happen? I don't know. Like, literally, I don't even know what your expectations are going to be. But that everything is love and light, and I can't think any dark thoughts, and I can't, experience the dark side of my nature. That's actually a very dangerous place in spirituality as well, because we're dual beings. We dip in the light and we dip in the dark. It's learning how to recalibrate, come back to the center, and know where your moral compass is, what feels right for you, what's on your path. And that's going to be uniquely your own. So this is also the path of self-love too. This is your guidance system for your spiritual journey. This is your navigation. This is your GPS. Your moral compass, or your compass, is your GPS for your spiritual journey. Coming back to love and what love is, the first step is understanding yourself, loving yourself, accepting yourself for who you are, your faults, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's all part of what makes you uniquely you. And that's what makes you so beautiful and so special. Especially when you can embrace that dark side. Especially when you can say, yeah, no, that's me, but I choose not to go over the edge. Because that's always a conscious choice. You can choose to go whatever direction you want. But whenever you do make certain choices beyond the parameters that you as a spiritual being have set up for yourself, nobody else, nothing else has set this up but you. You did this. Okay? So whenever we cross the lines, that's when we'll find that we will have obstacles, roadblocks. It'll start off as little hiccups in our life, and then it will kind of build if we don't listen. Our higher selves have set up these guidelines, these perimeters for our own spiritual needs and lessons on this journey. Make sure that you love yourself and you take care of yourself first. Then you're going to be able to take care of others in times when they really need it. I just wanted to share this little message today, and I want everybody to take care of themselves and have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed day. Bye.